in the process, I was able to connect with, and again, I got to point out that I started the poster series and I got pretty far into the process, and then a good friend of mine, Prince, he's tight with Cam, he's tight with Bob. He put me in touch with. He put me in touch with a brother of his who was looking to enhance a. They're doing this presentation at the Schomburg in February on 5% Nation. They did it last year.
By the 5% Nation.
By the 5% Nation, and they're going into the history. Like it's pretty dope actually. And he's telling me that this the Schomburg actually collected all of their issues of Son of Man. Like it's incredible. And so once we connected, I'm like, oh wow, this is like, so apropos, because I'm doing this piece on the 5% Nation, and what better resource to find out, like, yo, is this non-cipher? Is this like not, accepted? And when I went into it with him, he was like, no, this is incredible, and you got my full support. So, and we had to kind of get into it a little bit though. So, but I think some of the things that I think the 5% Nation and brothers like Father Supreme and ABG, what they want to do is try to get that information out, and not in this sort of like intimidating, secretive. Because you use the great term secret society. It's actually, if you let them tell it, that like it's not a secret. Like
right.
these things are out and they're for the world to take. So I think they've kind of maybe even shifted how they're sharing and distributing the information as well. So at first I was definitely concerned about it, and I was kind of like on the fence. I was like, maybe I'll skip it and focus on the photos or something. But I just kind of like quickly was like, I'll just try it and see what happens. And so like for instance, there's a lyric here. That's one of the posters, and it says arm, leg, arm, head. This is God body. I don't think Daytona don't know where that lyric is from.
Either RZA or somebody from Boot Camp.
Good guess. Anybody want to try? Yes. Arm, leg, arm, head. This is God body. That's actually how he started off. Nope. Nope. Jay-Z. And ironically, I was kind of yeah, right. So, and it was from the Magna Carta album. Yeah. I mean, first of all, I was talking to the brother earlier. I told him we've heard that lyric everywhere prior, but in particular, this kind of like, he's getting into it. The song is called Heaven, and it's actually a really good song. And so him going into that, using these words, using these terms, I kind of rationalized it like, you know what, these words are in the public domain, so let's share it, let's talk about it. And I think that's the approach that Father Supreme and the gods that I've been talking to have taken. They're like, let's share and let's have the dialogue. And ironically, his daughter just happened to pass through. She's based in LA, and she stopped by today, and his daughter gave the most thorough breakdown of my line. Like, I'm almost better than Father Supreme, but he would have been super proud. So.
I mean, because that's interesting. Just a sidebar. I remember when you were at Miami Dade, and you got approached by 5%ers. So I guess it's the academic approach, where you got the pass from the hood. I mean, the entry point, I think, might be different.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always good with them. But I've seen them like shut things down for real. So I think once they know where I come from and like what it is, they're good with it. But in general, very skeptical of academics. Yes.
So just two quick questions, I guess. One is what is I know we deal with from a creative standpoint. You're a true artist. Draw, illustrate, graphic, web, photography, all these different disciplines that you're really good at, but then also all the other things that you have going on professionally, community-wise. I guess my question is, how do you conceptualize and really hone in, particularly with something like this, which is very, like even listening to everybody talk, professor, everybody saying, you know, choosing their language appropriately. But if you grew up at a certain time with 5%, that shit came with the street shit.
Yeah.
And that's what nobody is really talking about. Like,
Yeah.
that shit came with street shit.
So
And so my other thing is that I give you props, and I just give you my brother, enormous. But it's this topic of the 5% nation in hip hop, I think it gets glossed over. And the reason why I say that is, it's a part of the legacy of black people fighting in the face of what this system is, which is often anti-this. It's almost a result, hip-hop is almost a result of that, in many regards. And it seems as though for something so powerful, if you really listen to current day music, you almost will have no ear academically for it to even exist. Like nobody, there's no legacy of young cats who are spitting or in line, and that's not a knock of them either. So I'm just curious as to how you focus your concepts, and then also, do you plan to do something more with this celebration of hip hop and 5% Nation?
yeah, so I think 2024 I'll become Phil Magnetic possibly, and no, but I do see a relationship growing. I particularly appreciate how I've come to grow and meet, for instance, Father Supreme, our good brother Prince, who Jamel, you name it, General Steele. Steele is he might. I don't know if he'll say he's a 5%er, but he is. You know what I mean? But by virtue of like the lyrics seep into his music, the quote, his lyric that's on the wall, that's from like 90 something. You know, so up until his most recent project, as recent as like 2020. So, or is he even as recent as the project that's not out yet? It's dropping in 2024. So. The way I see it is 100%, you're right. We grew up at a time when, God Body is straight street hood goons. I told Father Supreme that. I said, yo, my only real connection is like the dudes who I knew were 5%ers were ready to like, what's up, peace? Now I'm gonna rob you. What you got? I'm gonna punch you in your face. And it's like, whoa, so, and he agreed. He's like, yeah, no doubt, and to keep it a buck, as Father Supreme was like, yo, as a young guy said, keep it a buck. A buck is 100. So we're going back to the numbers. And he's right. He's 100% right. But I like the old school approach, but also he can't deny it. No one can deny the fact that the 5% Nation they had a force in the prison system. So when you go inside, if you get locked up, and there was a time where you had to choose up, and it's like the Bloods and Crips weren't the option. It might have been, are you God Body, are you Muslim, so they did have this kind of presence in the prison system, and in particular, Jamel Shabazz, again, shout out to him. He was like, he worked in corrections, and so he was steady. He was like, yo, matter of fact, Prince, who connected us with Father Supreme, he said, yo, man, when I was in. He was telling me the story. He's like, yo, I was in Jamel's C-74, and he's like, yo, he would have all of his guys in order. Like, he's like, yo, when you come in this area, you got arrested, and you're in this environment, but nah, you got to carry yourself a certain way. You got to eat a certain thing. Don't eat pork. That's a big thing. We did an interview with ABG last week, and it was like, yo, no, the other day, 2 days ago. And his biggest thing initially was like, yo, I'm trying to get these guys to stop eating pork. And I'm like, that's the goal? Like, but it's, at that time, he's going back to the 60s, it's actually kind of legit. Like, yeah, that might kill you. So like, let's start here. Let's start at this very basic level. Let's get you, eating right. So I think I think those things kind of will continue to develop. We're working on a documentary, and we're working on tightening up some things for the Schomburg presentation in February. So we'll keep everybody informed about that. But also going forward, I'm actually working on a project with two of my brothers, Molly X and Asen James, and we're going to do an exhibit called Gods and Guns. So I've already kind of decided I'm going to lean towards the gods, you know, my version of the gods for my contribution.
We're about to wrap up. I just wanted to follow up really quick about, because is that true? Like, is anybody else doing the work of the 5%ers in hip hop now? I'm thinking like Joey Badass, like from your vantage point, or is it lost art?
No, it's definitely not lost. Like I've definitely, ironically, I think I heard it last night. One of our young, super talented hip hop guys that we connected with, Uncle John. He's based out of DC. And that's Ankh, like the symbol, Uncle John. He's a really solid MC, and he's thinking, and I hear the references in his music. Joey Badass for sure. I can't think of anybody else immediately. They'll have they'll have references, but I think, you know, this is a great conversation to maybe continue, you know, maybe we plant that seed and we get to it, you know. God Fahim, 100%. I get down with them. Makhami, these guys are like, you know, they're on it, and you know, and I think they're still there. But we want to get them doing it more, because the other thing is, one of the reasons I focus on these lyrics is because they're all kind of like powerful words. Whether you what's today's math, and then you beat somebody up, that part is kind of whack. But they actually said that that's not the way now. But if you do that though, and you get people to recite these ideals and get these kind of concepts, I think there's some positivity in that and in the messaging. So I think it's a great space for it.
Okay, we have to wrap up. We can go on and on. I know I can. Can we thank Philip? Sure. Thank you. And so what is the next panel is what?
The next panel, that starts at
3:30.
Yes, it starts at 3:30.
It's Fly
It's
Guy.
moderated by Dr. Peterson.
Yes, that's what's up.
Doc, step up.
Artist Talk.
Okay.
Featuring
Peace, y'all.
Hassan, Fly Guy, Alexander.
Let's get it.
One, two, check, 1, 2. Good afternoon. Oh.
1, 2, 1, 2.
So Tony, I don't know how is this gonna work? Do we just jump right into it? 3:30? Oh, sorry.